Hello, my loves. Welcome to another episode of the Becoming You podcast. I am so excited to be coming to you today. And today is going to be a short and sweet one. Today's topic is all about overthinking, which causes anxiety in a lot of people. And this topic came up for me not because I personally suffer from overthinking, but it's a very common theme that I see in all of my clients, and it comes up so much in all my calls with clients who are potentially interested in working with me. And so I decided to record a podcast around what overthinking is and how our mind, you know, but we're going to go into this in detail. All right. So, overthinking or anxiety is when we process and overanalyze things to the point of paralysis, right? It creates anxiety in within you and in your body. And some people might call it indecisive. And some people just are very self-aware and they know that they're overthinkers and they have a really hard time making decisions, and they keep going back and forth on the what if. And I probably get into trouble for saying this, but I feel like my husband is a little bit of an overthinker, not to the point that it causes anxiety, but he definitely is an overthinker. And I know where he gets it from because his father, my father in law, is a bit like that as well. And overthinking comes from this idea that if I just look at the data long enough and hard enough, there's going to be a perfect solution that's going to occur or that's going to show up. And if I just think about it hard enough, there is a perfect solution, right? But the truth is, your mind doesn't want to sit with the fact that there is no one perfect solution, that there is maybe a best solution given the scenario. But there is a search for this elusive, perfect solution, and the discomfort that it causes in your body is what causes the overthinking, right? So, here are some of the symptoms and what is actually happening in your body with overthinking. And then we'll go into a little bit about why does this happen and how do we resolve overthinking. Overthinking makes you believe that you are in control, but it makes your body feel very nervous. So think about the last time that you were overthinking something, right? So it could be, what restaurant do we eat at? What do I wear to this party? Um, if you're dating somebody, you might be overthinking like what makeup and clothes to wear to impress somebody. Or if you are somebody who's not, who can't make small talk like me, you overthink like what comes out of my mouth next, right? And so we are calculating all the time. But what is actually happening in your body at that point is the sense of nervousness, right? Because you can't settle on any one thing. You're like, internally you're on shaky ground because you're like flip-flopping and da, 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 like your brain is computing at an extremely fast rate, and it goes down this route, and I'm like, and then it goes, no, 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 I can't do that, and then it backtracks, and then it goes down this thread or this path, and it's like, no, 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 and then all of this could happen. So imagine like a car going extremely fast, right? You don't have like a soft hold on the steering wheel. You are gripping that steering wheel because you're trying to make sure that you don't lose control. And overthinking is exactly like that. You are going careening around the corner and you are holding on really, really tight. So overthinking, you get this illusion that you're in control because you're looking at all the options and you're crunching all the numbers and the data that's presented to you. But when in fact, it's sending your body into a stress mode, right? Think about the last time you overthought something. Were you relaxed or were you clenching your body? Were you breathing deeply as you were overthinking, or were you breathing, were you breathing deeply down into your belly, right? Those are all indicators of whether your body's in a relaxed state or in a fight or flight state. So overthinking makes you believe that you're in control, but your body is actually nervous. Second, overthinking makes you believe you're actually doing something, right? Because you're just sitting here thinking about it this way and that way and 100 different ways. If only, should I, shall I say this, shall I not? So in your head, because you're so busy going at 100 miles an hour, it feels like you're doing something about the problem. But in fact, there is no action that is happening. You are paralyzed to take action. So the very thing that will solve the problem, which is taking action, overthinking paralyzes you from that. So you are now stuck in the problem. Okay. The third thing, overthinking makes you believe like you are living, but it takes your body out of the present moment. Let me repeat that. Overthinking makes you believe that you are living because you're trying to work out life, you're trying to work out the problem. But what it does is it takes you out completely out of the present moment, right? So think about when you are driving, a lot of driving metaphors today. Think about when you're driving from your home to your office, right? Maybe that's a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute drive. How many times have you gotten pulled into the parking lot of your office and not even known how you got there? You can't remember, like you just went on autopilot, right? So that 30 minutes, you were not even for a moment within your body. You were completely disassociated from your bodies because you weren't in the present moment. And your mind, you were somewhere else in your mind, thinking, processing, analyzing, right? So this is a simple example. You're like, yeah, 30 minutes in the car, whatever, right? But think about that happening in every aspect of your life. Think about when your husband or your spouse is trying to have a conversation with you, something that's really important to them. And instead of being in the present moment with them, your head is already racing ahead of trying to project your own thoughts on them or waiting to defend yourself. Or when your kids are playing, right, somewhere and they're saying, Mommy, look at this. But you're overthinking about something that you said or your boss said to you, and you are like doing the postmortem on what was said, and you are analyzing that conversation in 100 ways and worrying about, I could have said this, I could have said that. Why didn't I say this? Why didn't I say that? What are they going to think of me? Oh my gosh, did I make a bad impression? Am I going to get that promotion? I put in all of this work and I'm never going to get this promotion, right? And all of that is happening. And your kid is now like, I don't know, accomplishing something for the first time, or they're coloring something and they're saying, Mommy, look at me, or they're giving you a hug, or they're trying to get your attention, right? And that moment just goes by, just like that, because you're being overthinking and you missed it. You missed the actual magic in the moment, right? So overthinking makes you feel like you are living, but takes you out of the present moment. Overthinking makes you think you're actually protecting yourself, right? That's what we do. We're like, what if I'd said that? Or no, I shouldn't like forgive them because they're just going to end up hurting me, right? We overthink because what we're trying to do is protect ourselves from something bad happening, or we're trying to protect ourselves from feeling something that we don't want to feel. A lot of people overthink about, work or an exam that they've sat for, um, or a relationship that might be going well, but then they're really worried about when is it actually the inevitable is going to happen? When are we going to break up, right? Like that is the thing that's going through their head, because what they're trying to do is protect themselves from judgment, rejection, disappointment, hurt, pain, fear. So we put our guard up and we look through the evidence. It's like, well, all my relationships have ended. And why on earth would this one work out? Right. So that's really thinking in your head about it. And you're already deciding, like, how am I going to protect myself from this? So overthinking gives you the illusion that you're protecting yourself. But what it actually does is it shuts you down from feeling any kind of emotion, right? Because your everything is being calculated and analyzed through your head to expose yourself to the minimum amount of risk. But while you're living in your head, that numbs your heart and your body. Because again, when we feel pain, right, emotional and mental pain, we again process it through our heads because that actually hurts less than letting it feel it in our bodies. But when we do that, unfortunately, you also block yourself from all the wonderful things we want to feel, like happiness and joy and fulfillment and peace and bliss, right? So overthinking actually robs you of all the magical stuff in life. from deep feelings, from being in the present moment, from being connected to your body. I didn't realize all of this until maybe about a year ago when I really started um, associating again with my body. When I was starting to get plugged back in, I was like, oh, when I was thinking that I was protecting myself and I was living, I actually wasn't doing any of that. Right. And essentially, overthinking is a result of you not feeling safe in your body and in the world that you live in. Right. And it's, I can understand why that happens because we live in a very fear based world and we tend to look at the world through fear based lens. And it's only when we start living with the lens of love that starts to shift. And only when you start to live with your heart open does the overthinking start to reduce. Okay. And overthinking happens to all of us at some point because things have happened in our past that did not make us feel safe. So your brain and your mind steps in and it goes, that did not feel good. So what can I do to help set up defense mechanisms in place so that this stuff never happens again to us? Right. And that happens because the energy, the painful energy or the trauma energy is in your body, right? Remember that when anything painful, micro painful, macro painful, anything that damages our spirit gets stuck and stored in our bodies as not only a physical memory in our mind, as not only as a mental memory in our mind, but as a physical imprint on our bodies. There are certain physical sensations that run through our bodies during that moment of trauma. Just like, whether you're in a car accident, right? When you're in a car accident, I touch wood, like I've never been in one, but I assume that you get whiplash and a lot of your muscles just completely contract and tighten up. And a lot of damage happens, right? That is an extreme case of an actual physical damage that happens in your body. But let's say you were bullied or you shouted at by a parent, not even an abusive parent, but a parent who just carried a lot of authority and disrespect was not allowed and talk back was not allowed, right? So anytime you did something wrong, like a mistake, and you got yelled at, as an adult today, you might not look back at that moment and think, oh my gosh, that was so traumatic. Nobody would classify that as trauma. Everyone would just classify that as part of growing up. My parents loved me and they disciplined me, right? But what actually happens on a body level, on a somatic level, is that like maybe your stomach clenched up, maybe your fist tightened, maybe your jaw tightens, right? Maybe your heart rate picks up. Maybe you feel shame in your body. And I just noticed this the other day. I feel shame, like the way shame shows up in my body is it's in my stomach and it feels like claws on. So if you imagine, I know the stomach is not a rectangle, but if we draw like a general line around the tummy area, I imagined it as like a rectangle and there were claws that came in on each corner of the rectangle. And it was like this idea of like this crunching and like pushing it together, like almost like, when a car goes to the dump and there is a big machine that crunches all that metal. It was that kind of a visual, but it was happening in my stomach. And that's what shame felt like to me. So most of us don't know what shame feels like in your body. For every person, it's different. I was able to locate it the other day through a breathwork session that's what shame feels like in my body. But let's say you get yelled at, right, by a teacher in a classroom in front of everyone and all the kids laugh, right? So that is an imprint, like an actual somatic imprint in your body of what shame feels like. So the next time your mind goes, I don't ever want to feel that kind of shame and embarrassment ever, because like you felt that in your body, right? And it was painful. It was painful. So your mind goes, well, how do we protect ourselves from this? Right? So from then on, or maybe it's not that exact moment, but over the years, as you experience more slightly embarrassing things, it gets compounded, right? The same emotion gets compounded. And that's when the overthinking starts to kick in. How can I protect myself so that I never have to feel that kind of shame and embarrassment again? And so you start to compute and play chess in your head and it comes up with all the possible ways that you could get embarrassed or you could get ashamed. And it's like, okay, I don't want to wear that dress because this might happen. I don't want to wear that lipstick because I don't want to stand out too much. And if we stand out too much, that's going to be embarrassing. I don't want to say anything too loud in this meeting, or I don't want to say anything stupid in this meeting. And we start overthinking about our ideas and our opinions. And so we start making ourselves quieter, right? This is how over time, overthinking becomes something that induces anxiety, right? And just telling yourself, you know what, just stop, like stop overthinking, right? When has that ever worked? Well, the reason it doesn't work is actually two reasons. The reason it doesn't work is because your body still feel that emotion anytime you're at risk of being embarrassed or ashamed. So even though you're telling your mind it's going to be okay, this is, it's going to be okay, like, and you're trying to walk yourself through it, your body is not getting that messaging. Your body is like on autopilot, feeling the shame or feeling like the potential risk that there might be something here that could cause you to feel shame, right? Because remember my image of what shame feels like, that feeling, the stomach being like crushed and contracted and constricted is starting to set in. So even though I'm telling my mind it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, my body's already going through the reaction of shame and embarrassment, just at the risk and the thought of it. That's the one reason, right? Now I can't remember what the second reason is. It's going to come up. So no amount of telling yourself it's going to be okay is going to make you feel safe. So the way that we start to dismantle overthinking is to go in through the breath and the body, right? By breathing and going into that memory, right? As we breathe, we can guide ourselves into that memory and we can start to look at our nervous system, start to look at shame as a thing that we are feeling in our bodies. Not that I am shame. You are not the shame. The shame is something that you felt. So within breath work, because you kind of go into a meditative state, there is a sense of separation between the emotion and you, right? And you can be an observer. You can observe what is happening instead of identifying with what is happening. And that is where healing starts to occur. And you start to observe it and you start to look at the emotion and you start to ask it, what are you trying to protect me from? And it might say, well, that really hurt to be laughed at the entire classroom. I don't want to put myself in that position again. And then you go a little bit deeper through the breath and you say, what happens when you feel shame? Right? And you go, well, my stomach really, really clenches up and it's a horrible feeling. Okay, let's keep breathing deeper. And then what happens? And through the breath, we can start to relax that stomach area, literally breathe oxygen into that area. And instead of trying to push it and heal it very, very quickly, we open ourselves up with curiosity to see what that shame is here to teach us, right? All of these painful emotions, they're just stories that we tell ourselves that we're not good enough. Everything always boils down to I'm not enough, I'm not worthy enough, right? Everything at the end of the day trickles down to that over and over and over. So it's really by leaning into the shame, it's really an invitation to look at the lie that I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy enough, right? And I know logically and rationally, we all have read enough books to tell us that we're all worthy, that we were made good enough, right? So why can't any of us believe it? Why can't you believe it yet? Because your body has not gotten the message, because the shame still lives in your body. So we've got to lean into that shameful emotion that's locked away, that energy is still locked, right? This is the reason number 2 that I forgot, is why thinking about overthinking doesn't solve the problem. When you felt that initial shame, right, from that core memory or that past memory, that emotion got locked into your body as an imprint. because you said, this is too painful, I'm just going to not think about it, or I'm just going to try to move on, right? By maybe you did that by working harder, by achieving more, by proving to everybody how smart you were, by never speaking up in class again. I don't know what your coping mechanism was, but that would have been a mechanism that you chose to recover from that. But what essentially happened was you took that emotion, or you felt that emotion in that moment, and you said, "That's I can't. No, I never want to go back to that again." And you neatly locked it away in a box. You thought you were locking away just the memory and brushing it under the bed or the carpet. But what you actually did is pick that emotion, you locked it, and you said, "I never want to feel that again." You've literally locked it inside of your body, right? And you thought it would disappear. But what happens when you lock something inside of your house? It's still in there, right? It's not outside. It's still in there. It's like saying, "Oh, this garbage smells really bad. Like I don't want to smell this garbage." And instead of taking it out of the house, you just put it in a closet and you locked it. And what's going to happen over time? Slowly the smells are going to start leaking out. And then after like a few years, you're going to be like, "What stinks in here?" Like because you forgot about it. You forgot that the garbage had been locked away in your house, and yet this smell, you can't get rid of the smell. And the metaphor for the smell here is your anger and your resentment and your frustration and your lashing out and your overthinking, right? The smelly garbage in your life shows up as all of these emotions and reactions that you don't want to have, and it just keeps showing up, and you're like, "Why is it stinky in here?" And when we do the breath work, it unlocks it, and you go, "Oh my God, I didn't even know this garbage was in here. I forgot I locked it and put it away. Oh my gosh." And then at that point, you're like, "Oh, I don't want to go in that closet. That smell is going to take me out." Your mind says, "Don't go in that closet. That smell is going to knock you out. It's going to be so bad. You cannot handle it." That's what your mind says, right? But this is the magic of breath work. Because you keep taking deep breaths, right? You inhale and exhale, you inhale and exhale, and you're focusing on the breath. Your body takes over and goes in and takes out the garbage. Even though it might be really painful, your body goes, "We can do this. We can do this. Just keep breathing. We can do this. We can do this." And you take the really stinky garbage out, and then you go, "Whoa, I lived through that. It was actually okay. It wasn't enjoyable, but I didn't die like I thought I was going to." And that's the exact same thing with breath work, right? Your mind tells you, "We cannot handle that right now. Let's just lock it away." But breath work is a really gentle, loving way to excavate these trapped, stuck emotions within us that we have said, "Nope." Your mind has convinced you that that is too painful. We're not going to go there. It's decided that so strongly that that memory is not even a conscious thing for you yet. It has not appeared in your consciousness. It's in your subconscious and your unconscious, right? But with breath work, it leads you to unlock those memories, and your body does the work of alchemizing and releasing these stories. These are just stories that we made up about our worth and our enoughness because other people behaved in ways that caused us harm. But now, as a full grown adult with breath work, you get to see that it was just an illusion. You were just telling yourself, "I can't handle this stuff," that if it ever comes up. It might be uncomfortable and it might be painful and it might be very deeply emotional. But at the other end of it, you're going to realize, "I felt it. I felt deep into that shame. And I realized that that shame was here to teach me that there's nothing to be ashamed of, right? That I am not inherently bad." Here's the thing about shame. How do we get from overthinking to shame? But anyway, um, shame tells you that you are a bad person, right? But you're not. That's a lie that shame creates. So this is how we stop overthinking. We go in through the breath into the body to help calm down our nervous system. and help our bodies feel safe to be in the present moment, right? If you are an overthinker and you have a lot of anxiety, you will find it really hard to be in the moment. In the moment means not thinking about the past, not thinking about the future, right? And if you're an anxious person or you're an overthinker, that feels really impossible because your brain is constantly looking for ways things could go wrong, and you're looking for ways to control those potential things that could go wrong. And so imagine what you're doing to your body. It's constantly in a nervous state. It's like it's not safe to relax. Let's keep scanning the environment for all the things that could get jacked up, all the things that are not in my control. How can I control it? When you're in that state, your nervous system is just shot. And imagine then what that does for your health, right? Imagine, because you're never able to be in the present moment, you're never able to truly connect with the loved ones right in front of you. You go through your whole day kind of just existing, and then you look back and you go, like, what did I do all day? It feels like you're just living the same day over and over because you're not ever in the present moment. Okay? So overthinking is essentially caused by micro and macro trauma response, right? And trauma, every single person in this world has had trauma. Okay, let's just define that. Trauma just doesn't mean life-shattering experiences. Trauma is anything that causes hairline cracks in your sense of being, right? We've all had like stuff happen to us that robs us of our power, that causes us emotional pain, that causes us mental pain, that causes us physical pain, right? It's like saying, oh, I've lived all my life and I've never actually had any kind of physical like pain caused, right? Like from a cut finger to slicing your finger open, cutting an apple to cutting a nail too short, right? If you are human, you're going to be have some sort of physical damage as you go through life. It is inevitable, right? No matter how great a life you had and no matter how wonderful parents you had. Same thing with trauma, right? If you are human and you've been born and you exist on this earth, you will have trauma. Denying that truth just stops you from your healing. We all have stuff that have happened to us, however tiny and minor, that have, like, I don't want to say broken, right? That have caused rifts in your sense of wholeness in your being. That is trauma, okay? So overthinking is dismantled by helping to calm the nervous system, like we've talked about, through the breath and the body. And it's dismantled by helping you get back into your body so that your body can guide you to the decisions you need to make. Right? What I mean by that, let's just take a very simple example of deciding what to eat for dinner, right? So let's say you're trying to lose weight, the last 10 pounds from having a baby, right? And you've been struggling with this 10 pounds for the last few months. And you could have a salad or you could have meat and potatoes, right? Those are your two options for dinner tonight. And you're like going back and forth. This is a really simple example, right? You're like going back and forth. Well, I really should have a salad because that's what I'm supposed to do to lose weight. But I'm like super hungry and the steak and potatoes look amazing, right? And in your mind, it's like going at 100 miles an hour, trying to decide between what I should do, what I want to do, what is this going to do to my body in terms of pounds, what's my like what's my scale gonna say if I don't lose this weight? Oh my God, I'm so tired of trying to work out and lose la 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 la, right? That's overthinking. We're in our heads. How about we get into our bodies, right? And ask yourself, do I want a salad or do I want steak and potatoes? Right? Not answering from the ego, but really asking your body, what feels good to you today? And that answer is hard to get in the beginning if you've never communicated with your body and if you don't have a safe and open relationship with your body, right? Because in the past, it hasn't not felt safe to be in your body, right? Because you felt, going back to this example in the podcast, I felt shame in this body. Like, I don't want to be in this body. Shame's locked away in there, right? So it's safer to just ask the head what to do. But when we use the breath to start releasing and healing the shame, your body starts to send signals to you, right? And it might be a feeling of, for me, when when I'm going through my roster of what restaurant shall we eat at today, right? Sometimes I'll land on one and it will feel like a ping in my body, right? It's like a stone dropping into the water. It's like that plop sound. It's not exactly a sound, it's a feeling for me in my body. But how did I get there? Right? We were all born with this ability. I lost it. I didn't even know it existed for many, 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 many years. And I've only realized it and started to strengthen it in the last 2 to 3 years as I worked with somatic healers to help me open me up back to being in my body again. The reason that I disassociated from my body is growing up, I felt very powerless. I felt very ugly. I was made to feel ugly by all the comments that people in my family would make. And so I didn't feel safe to be me in my body, right? So then I decided, well, I'll just be really well behaved. I'll just be really smart. I'll just be the smartest one in the room. And that way, all the attention is off of how I look, and instead it's on how I perform, right? And academic performance comes from lots of thinking. And that's how I started to become disassociated from my body. And other stuff has happened before, right? Like I was sexually molested a couple of times when I was a kid, and that causes a lot of shame. So I disassociated from my body. We moved a lot when I was a young girl, and I went to new schools all the time. And I was scared, right? Any kid would be scared if they just moved to new schools all the time, and they were always the newbie, right? And so it causes literal fear in your body because you don't feel safe. And so what do we do when we don't feel safe? Like when someone's chasing you, right, and you're hiding in the closet, the last thing you want to do is be in your body, right? You immediately escape into your head. Your body starts to shut down all unnecessary things. Your breath gets short, right? And you're in your head. You're trying to figure out, how do I get out of the situation? And in that moment, that is very necessary for your body to do that. It is important that you disassociate so that every ounce of energy you have goes into processing, how do I get out of here, right? But then that becomes a trauma response. And we disassociate from our bodies when in moments of like normalcy, when your life is normal, you don't want that. You want to be in your body, right? You don't want to be disassociated from your body like you're being chased and you're in a closet trying to get away from your attacker. That is not how we want to live life. But because of these multiple trauma responses that we have never given ourselves the permission to feel and heal, so then we start to live in a permanently disassociated state. So that's why when you ask your body, what do you want for dinner? It has no response because you're completely disassociated and disconnected from it. But through the breath, you can start to heal and open up that connection again. And so you'll know in an everyday life scenario, your body will give you answers. Your body always knows what is best for you. But overthinking has not helped you, harmed or has hurt that association. All right. So I think we have talked a lot about overthinking. So breath work, breath work, breath work. At the risk of sounding like a broken record, truly breath work has changed my life for the better, right? I feel so much like full with my heart, full with my love, full with gratitude. Do I have bad days? Do I have down days? Do I have depressive days? Yes, absolutely. I'm human. But guess what? There's beauty in that too, because now I don't judge myself for having those quote unquote bad days. I know it's an emotion that I'm going through. I know it's a door that's being opened that's inviting me in to delve deeper into what's going on, what is coming up here, right? I have the tools now, breath work, to help me explore and give myself the love and the acceptance that I need as I'm going through this hard episode. And it's also allowed me to love deeper, feel deeper, right? And it's brought so much meaning into my life because now I live in synchronicity with my mind, body, and my soul, and they're lining up. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. All right, you guys, that is everything I have for you today. If you love this episode, I would love to hear from you in my DMs. I cannot tell you how happy it makes me when I hear from people who listen to my podcast and out of the blue, randomly, they'll message me on Instagram or in an email and they'd be like, oh my gosh, that episode was transformative. Like, it really helped shed some light on some things I've been going through. Like, podcast is a free medium, and the currency that podcasters take is your feedback about how this podcast resonated with you or like how you hate it. Like, I love to hear from you, right? So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, week, wherever you are listening. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.